Live it well. 1, 2. Tony, maybe a little more on my mic too. Make sure I got a little more volume on that. Neil. Neil. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Stone Coast Church on this wonderful, beautiful fall day. A little more, Tony. The vocal. Thank you. It's a beautiful day to stand up and worship our God. So if you're able to, please stand and join us in some worship. I was talking to my 5th graders this week and asked them to think about what their gifts were, what their strengths were. And some of them said things like reading or soccer or drawing. One kid said he didn't think he had any gifts. So I'm getting to know him a little bit. And one of the things he does is does a lot of community service. So his gift is actually serving. He didn't know it. And it's a way to live it well. This team this morning, we were at Mathewson Street Church, and they were helping us live it well. The Friendship Breakfast is it's a magical place, and I wish I could take all of you. Wanna live it well, yeah, yeah. I wanna live it well. Take the burden from my arms, take the anchors off my lungs. Take me broken and make me one. Break the silence and make it a song. Life is short, I wanna live it well. One life, one story to tell. Life is short, I wanna live it well. And you're the one I'm living for. Awaken, oh my soul, every breath that you take is a miracle. Life is short, I wanna live it well. I wanna sing with all my heart a lifelong song. Even if some notes come out right, some come out wrong. 'Cause I can't take none of that through the door. I'm living for more than just a funeral. I wanna burn brighter than the dawn. Life is short, I wanna live it well. One life, one story to tell. Life is short, I wanna live it well. And you're the one I'm living for. Awaken, oh my soul, every breath that you take is a miracle. Life is short, I wanna live it well. Got one life, and one love, Got one voice, maybe that's enough. 'Cause with one heartbeat and 2 hands to give, I got one shot, one life to live. I got a one shot, one life to live. I got a one shot, one life to live. Every breath that you take is a miracle. Life is short, I wanna live it well. One life, one story to tell. Life is short, I wanna live it well. You're the one I'm living for. Awaken, oh my soul, every breath that you take is a miracle. Life is short, I wanna live it well. Got one life, and one love, Got one voice, maybe that's enough. 'Cause with one heartbeat and 2 hands to give, I got one shot, one life to live. I got a one shot, one life to live. I got a one shot, one life to live. it well. Oh, I wanna live it well for you. I wanna live it well. Standing in your love. Oh, we had a lot of energy this morning in church, you know. And it's magical, I'm telling you. The Spirit just fills that room. Mathewson Street Church is a church in Providence, Rhode Island, in the heart of the city, that serves a hot meal on Sunday mornings, and they really are a huge resource to the homeless and hungry around the state of Rhode Island. And this friendship breakfast is a room full of sometimes 200-300 people that come and go and get coffee and hot oatmeal and a breakfast that's like, it's really good. and they get served. We serve them and by washing dishes or making some food and getting there at 5 o'clock in the morning. But there's just, Sean asked me a while ago why I do it, and I said, well, there's beautiful people everywhere you go. And there's a lot of people struggling in that room. Holy cow. I can't even begin. But we smile for each other, and we hug each other. We learn each other's names. And we bring dignity to them, and they bring dignity to us. It's not an us and they thing. It's just a we. Had a dream, live beneath an orange sky. Had a dream, live beneath an orange sky. My brother standing by,
brother standing by,
brother standing by,
who's standing by?
my sister standing by,
His sister standing by, standing by.
Darkness tries to roll over my bones, sorrow comes to steal the joy I own. Brokenness and pain is all I know. No, I won't be shaken. No, I won't be shaken. 'Cause my fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. Shame no longer has a place to hide, and I am not a captive to the lies. I'm not afraid to leave my past behind. I won't be shaken, I won't be shaken. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. There's power that can break off every chain. There's power that can empty out a grave. There's resurrection power that can save. There's power in your name. Power in your name. There's power that can break off every chain. There's power that can empty out a grave. There's resurrection power that can save. power in your name, power in your name. My fear
doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love.
My fear
doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. My fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love.
Ooh, oh, I'm standing on a rock. Oh, I'm standing in your love. Oh, I'm standing on a rock. My firm foundation.
I'm standing on the rock. I'm standing on the rock now.
Standing in your love.
I'm standing on the rock.
I'm standing in your love.
love.
My firm foundation. My firm foundation. Oh, yeah.
Right. And this song, God of the City, that we're going to play next is the chorus just, I don't know, it just makes you feel like anything's possible. It says, greater things have yet to come, greater things are still to be done. And wow, think about that. You're the God of the city.
You're the king of these people. You're the Lord of this nation. You are. You're the light in this darkness. You're the hope to the hopeless. You're the peace to the restless. You are.
You're the God of the city.
You're the God of the city. You're the king of these people. You're the Lord of this nation. You are.
You're the
Light in this darkness. You're the hope to the hopeless. You're the peace to the restless. You are. There is no one like our God. There is no one like our God.
There is
No one like our God.
greater things have yet to come,
And greater things are still to be done in this city. Greater things have yet to come, and greater things are still to be done here.
greater things.
Greater things have yet to come, and greater things are still to be done in this city. Greater things have yet to come, and greater things are still to be done here.
Still to be done here. The God of the city. You're the God of this city.
You're the King of these people.
You're the Lord of this nation. You are. You're the light in this darkness.
You're the hope to the hopeless. You're the peace to the restless. You are.
You're the God of the city. You're the God of this city. You're the King of these people. You're the Lord of this nation. You are. You're the light in this darkness. You're the hope to the hopeless. You're the peace to the restless. You are. There is no one like our God. There is no one like our God. There is no one like our God.
Greater things have yet to come, and greater things are still to be done in this city. Greater things have yet to come, and greater things are still to be done here.
Greater things, Lord.
Greater things have yet to come, and greater things are still to be done in this city. Greater things have yet to come, and greater things are still to be done here.
Still to be done here. Still to be done here. Oh Lord.
Leave that slide up for a second. You may be seated just for a minute. I want to talk to you. Just the songs make me think of something. I want to ask you a very sincere question. It's not a loaded question. It's very, very sincere. Because when I sing that, it does something to my soul. And greater things have still to be done here. Like, is that truly a desire of our hearts? For me personally, when I think about this, there is greater needs. It's not greater so that there's a sense of accomplishment, or greater because you want to do these great things. It's because there's great need. There's people attached to that need. Some are in this room, some are your friends, some are your family, some are on the streets of Providence, etc., etc. But do you really want that greater thing for hope to come into this world? It's a legitimate question to ask. And for some, the answer is no. Like, I have too much on my plate right now. Life is overwhelming. I can't do another thing. And I get that. And then there's more folks that are like, you know what? In that greater thing, I believe God is whispering to me. Because with great things takes great commitment. Right? There's something about that. There's a challenge to that. But here's what I want you to hear in the teaching, as we'll transition in a few minutes. But the heart of it is when Mark talks about those folks at Matheson struggling with homelessness. And when you go there and you see a real human being, and you just ask yourself these questions like, what does it mean? What does it look like? What does it feel like to not have shelter? To not have a loving person? Like, think about it. There's not a one person in the world that would take you in. What does that feel like? Like, it breaks my heart. So there is great need. It takes something. And we're going to be talking about different people groups, because as a church here at Stone Coast, what we do, we believe matters. We help with people that struggle with homelessness. We help people that are struggling in foster care, inner city youth, and kids with disabilities. Those are our four main causes. That doesn't mean that you all, as the church, don't take on other great causes to make a difference in this world. But as a church, that's what we focus on. But if you hear this message as a message of works, like you must do something, versus the person that's at the end of your doing, there's a very different outcome. One is like, oh my gosh, this weight on my shoulder is unbearable. How can I do another thing? Or it's like, you know what? A life well lived, a life of fulfillment, it takes sacrifice. It does take something. And I think maybe at the end of the day, I say it's worth it. I'm going to share with you very real stories that just happened in the last couple of days that are heartfelt and they're very, very hurtful. But I want you to be thinking about it when a young person is on the streets. A 40-year-old, a 50-year-old, a 70-year-old. Everything's represented on the streets. And I can't get that thought out of my mind that there's not a person in the world that either trusts them enough or loves them enough or can do something in their life. They burned so many bridges that they're on the streets. And I recognize, like with homelessness, it's not something that we can solve. Right? I get that. But it's like the starfish. Everyone, the starfish illustration, right? There's the shore rolls up and there's 100 millions and millions of starfish everywhere on the shore, and there's a little boy picking one up and just throwing one at a time. And this older gentleman's watching him, and he's just saying, this is a futile task. Like there's hundreds of thousands of these starfish. This is futile. Like, why are you wasting your time? He goes up to the young boy and says, youngster, like there's so many of these things. There's nothing you can do to solve this problem. And the youngster picks up the starfish and he throws it back in and goes, I saved that one. I helped that one. Like, I don't know what God is whispering to you, but the heart of this message today is about getting involved in serving. It's in the heart of who Jesus is. Right? He says that he came to serve, not to be served. And he gave of himself, and he sacrificed. But if you miss the heart's intention, it becomes legalistic. It becomes a to-do list. And I'll tell you what, you can't serve another human being if they're on your to-do list. Does that make sense when I say that? Like, I don't see the person when I'm just checking it off, like I have to go show up. But I'm going to tell you, we keep it real here at Stone Coast, it takes something. I tell you, you know my story. I pick up Anthony every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. He's my mentee out of foster care. I don't want to. Do you know what I'm saying? Like in my life is pretty busy. I don't want to drive 2 hours to go and pick him up from school or pick him up from home, then take him here and then go there and go there and go there and go there. I don't really want to, but I believe that if I'm going to give him a hope and a future for his life, that I must. It takes something. And it's in that sacrifice that I think at the other end of it, it's fulfilling. Like I believe I'm in the heart of God when I do that. But if he ever feels like it's a to-do, then I've missed the mark. Because he's a human being that deserves dignity and respect. So hear that as we sing this we have a final song? As we sing this final song, be thinking about real people. There's no judgment and there's no guilt and there's no condemnation and there's no shame, right? Like if you're feeling that way, I just ask you to bring that to the cross and let go of it. Because it says in Scripture that there is no condemnation in Christ for those that love him. Like, this is a plea to say, God, help me to be more aware of people. And that could be the person next door to you. That could be the person who's the next cubicle over. Like, everyone has a story. So I just talked about this grand problem of homelessness, but the person next to you, I'm probably going to suggest that they're stressed. They're overwhelmed. They're fearful. They might not be able to pay the bills at the end of the month. Like, everybody has something. But when you show up as a Christ follower, you show up with light, with love, with hope, with a message that's different and contrary to the world. But sometimes it takes something, because now you have to walk with that person. That means you have to maybe go out for coffee once a week to let that person know that you're there with them, that you're going to be by their side, and they have somebody in their corner. I don't know what that looks like, but be prayerful about that. Be mindful about that. Because I think it matters, and I think it's in the heart of God.
All right, we have one more song this morning. So rise up if you're able to, and stand with us. And let's let God show us the way this morning. The way, the truth, the light, I believe. the truth, the light. I believe you are. Through every battle, through every heartbreak, through every circumstance, I believe you are my fortress, you are my portion, you are my hiding place. I believe through every battle, through every heartbreak, through every circumstance, yeah.
I believe
You are my fortress, you are my portion, you are my hiding place. I believe you are the way, the truth, the light. I believe you are the way, the truth, the light. I believe you are. I believe you are. I believe you are. We believe you are. Through every blessing, through every promise, through every breath I take, yeah. You are provider, sing it. You are protector. You are the one I love, yeah. I believe through every blessing, through every promise, through every breath I take. I believe you are provider, you are protector, you are the one I love, yeah. I believe you are
the way,
the truth, the light. I believe you are the way, the truth, the light. I believe you are. It's a new horizon. It's a new horizon, and I'm set on you. Meet me here today for mercies that are new. All my fears and doubts, they can all come true. They can't stay long when I'm here with you. It's a new horizon, and I'm set on you. Meet me here today with mercies that are new. All my fears and doubts, they can all come true. They can't stay long when I believe you are. Come on, the way,
the truth, the light. I believe you are the way, the truth, the light. I believe you are the way, the truth, the light. I believe you are the way, the truth, the light.
I believe you are. I believe you are. I believe you are. I believe you are. I believe you are.
No one's going to clap? You may be seated. Thank you, guys. I'm going to be real quick with announcements, and then I want to jump right in. To me, like, the songs just kind of lend themselves to the teaching, right? And that last one talked about set on you. And this week in my time of abiding with the Lord, that phrase, to be set on, was something that I put in capital letters. What do you set your focus on? What do you set on, right? And it's like it drives something. It takes something because it's like, this is what I'm focused on. And that's what you bring forth into this world, right? Because that's what drives you. So what you focus on is really, really important. So here's real quick, okay? So this Wednesday night, some of you know we've been doing this abiding practice. If you don't know about it, talk to someone on our team. But that's this Wednesday night, 6:30 at Four Echoes. That's our nonprofit vintage shop in Seekonk. All this is on the website, so you can check it out. We have a men's breakfast this Saturday, September 23rd at 8:30 a.m. at Four Echoes. We have a women's event October 8th going to Mystic, Connecticut. And then October 1st, we have a chili off. Some of you know the first Sunday of the month, typically, on a normal basis, the first Sundays we do kind of a brunch kind of thing. And we like to, I'm a competitive person, so I like to have fun and do contests. So we're going to have a chili off. And I didn't enter the chili off last. I did a chowder off. All right, chili. We'll see what I can do. But if you want to be part of the competition, you think your chili is worthy, right? We have a lot of food critics here. I like to eat, so... Right? So if you think your chili is worthy, Diane, raise your hand. It's my wife, Diane. See Diane, right? What do we want? About five-ish, right? So if 5 of you want to sign up, we do have some chefs, just not to scare anybody, but we actually have 4 or 5 chefs that come to church here. I like a challenge. So there you go, all right? It's also like a family fun day. I'm not going to go too far in. I'll probably talk more next week about it, but it's an opportunity for you to invite children. We're going to do some stuff during service, after service. We're going to have like soccer games going on. We might have pickleball. I don't know. We'll see. And different activities. But I just want to make it a family fun day as well. So that's all there. Everyone good? Got it? You can go on the website, check it out. Awesome. So today's teaching, we're going to do we're coming out of a series, The Great Life is Adventure, Say Yes. So we just closed that chapter. If you didn't get a chance to look at that, look online. I think that's a really great series. So they'll always be on our website. You can check that out there. But today we're going to be talking about looking to get involved and this idea of serving, right? And so I look at this teaching a little differently than maybe some of the ones we do typically because it's combining vision and our values. So I want to explain to you why do we do certain things. So it has a little philosophy around at Stone Coast because I think every church is a little bit different, right? We're all wired a little differently, why we do what we do, and I think that matters. I forgot to say, if you want to connect with us too, that's something I say every week. So if you're new here at church, we have gift bags in the back left. There's a Connect card, you can fill that out. And then online, there's also an opportunity for you to fill out the Connect card electronically. All right, so that's enough of that. So here's our vision, right? To love and serve others so that all might live life to the fullest in Christ. And I believe everything that we do, I call it Stone Coast Organization, because some of you know that we have Stone Coast the church, this. We have the Emerge foster care program that we have for mentoring and Emerge living. It's a 4-year program. We have the Four Echoes Vintage Shop and Four Echoes Ice Cream Shop. We're looking to have an events business there. We're going to look to have a coffee shop there. And I'll talk to you more about why beyond that. But everything that we do at Stone Coast, the organization, is to love and serve others so that all people can live life to the fullest in Christ. And there's layers and layers and layers to what that means, right? So when we talk about focus on the value of serving and helping each of you to get involved in Stone Coast, I really want you to see the essence of that, the heart of that. And I had referenced it earlier about this is what Jesus was. Jesus came to serve, not to be served, right? So we want to follow in his footsteps. And I want this to be done. What does it look like for you? Right? I believe every single person is gifted. I believe that God has wired you a certain way. He's given you passions. He's given you things that you are disgusted by. We'll talk about that later, about impact projects. Things that really bother you in this world, they might not bother me. That means God's whispering something to you. Maybe he wants you to step up and do something about that. My thing is this, right? So everyone has a different thing because that's what the church does. It goes out and meets many needs in the community. And I just want you to think about Jesus for a second. I don't know if you guys do this. You ever do this? What does a typical day look like in Jesus' life? Have you ever done that? Raise your hand if you ever done that. What does it look like? What's a typical day in Jesus' life look like?
Get up.
He does get up.
Get up, eat, and preach.
He eats and preaches
And
serves and loves. What were you going to say?
Heals.
And he heals.
A lot of walking.
A lot of walking, right? He's probably in decent shape. He's walking a lot.
Overwhelmed with a lot of people's needs.
Ooh, overwhelmed with a lot of people's needs. Interesting. What else?
Prayer.
A lot of prayer. Just think, I want you to think it's an interesting thought. You're going to say something? No.
Suppers with friends.
He suffers with friends.
Supper.
Oh, well, he suffers with friends too. Well, his friends fall asleep on him as he's suffering, but he has supper with his friends, right? He does a lot of leadership training, right? If you think about it, leadership development, right? He has his 3 and then he has his 12. So he does a lot of teaching, a lot of think about this. He only served for 3 years in public ministry. And that mission changed the world for billions of people's lives. Just think about that. He's the greatest leader ever walked the face of the earth, the greatest leader. He poured into 12 people, one of them not so good, right? A couple of them, but anyways, right? He poured into a group of people that then changed the world. And these are ordinary people. These weren't the kings and the queens. These are ordinary human beings like you and me. But he had a way about him in 3 years that he poured into them in such a way that they got this message. They got this movement and they were willing to die for it, which most of them did. It took something. But I agree with Michelle a lot. Like, I don't know how many days I could do that. I see him running. Like he's a runner, if you will. Like I know you said he walked a lot. He's walking everybody. I'm saying he took on a lot because I think people mattered to him dearly. And it was like this, I only got 3 years here, so I got to pour everything I have into these people that they get it. They see it, and he's coming up against resistance in the religious ways, in the political ways, and all the different things, the resistance. But he's like, I got to get them to get this, right? Until it's finished. So he's out serving and giving of himself. And I'm like, man, that's a tough bar. The model that he puts before us is a big, high bar, I think. And I don't want to scare anybody. It's like a both and. You ever know that there's like the paradox of our faith is that there's competing truths. You guys know what I mean when I say that? It's like I say this, and this can also be the same. It can both be true, but they seem like they're clashing. So when I tell you to have no guilt, no condemnation, no shame, I mean that. And when I say, but it takes something and it takes sacrifice, I mean that as well. I trust that you as adults before God can figure out what God is whispering to you. We as a church want to come alongside you and encourage you and support you and help guide you. Like if I can help you get involved and figure out what your gifts are and get a good fit for you, awesome. If it's here in the church, if it's in the community, whatever that looks like, that's why we're here. But ultimately, we're here to imitate Christ, to be like Christ. Linda, do you mind if I just say a little something about you? No. Okay, I won't embarrass you. I'll say you're a caretaker. Is that okay if I say that way? So I say this because I want to make sure you hear the heart of this. Some of you are in a role where you're a caretaker. Or you're a mom, Nicole, you're a mom of 8 kids. Or you're, like whatever phase of life, and you got to take that into consideration when I'm speaking, okay? If you're in a caretaking role, that's your ministry. Sean is not putting more guilt on you and say, you've got to do more. You've got to get involved here at the church and go and do something. That is what God has called you to. And he'll sustain you in that, and he'll empower you. And it's difficult, isn't it? It has good days and bad days. It has good moments and bad moments, right? So hear this through the lens of you before God with no condemnation, with no guilt and no shame from me. I'm asking you to just to think about it, pray about it, and I'm going to explain to you our vision and our purpose and why we do what we do. And ultimately, though, I do believe that all of us are called to be like Christ, which is to be a servant. So what does that look like for you in your life? That's the heart of it, okay? So let me paint a picture. Part of this, let me see where I want to go with this. Okay, so at Stone Coast, I say to myself, like, why are we here in the first place? At Stone Coast, we're different. Like, every church has their own DNA. We like to get our hands dirty. Like, when I talk about loving people deeply, it's not easy. And yet, I want us to show up. I want us to be the kind of church that shows up. I know we don't get it perfect. I don't get it perfect. No one gets it perfect. But we're the kind of church, that's our desire. I want to show up. I want to be with you in your pain and suffering. And sometimes I blow it. I was at a funeral this week. I was officiating it. And all I could think about is I believe God is whispering to me, leaving out some of the details. There's people in my family that I believe God is whispering to me to be more involved with. Okay? That's between me and God. I got enough on my plate. Some of you go, oh, you make excuses for me. Don't make excuses for me. I'm just telling you where I'm at. And I believe God is whispering, I need to do more for this one or two individuals in my life. And I'm not doing it. I'm not showing up. I'm making the call, I'm making the text, and that's the bare minimum, right? I'm not putting that on anybody else. That's what God is whispering to me. I'm at this funeral, and wouldn't you know that this man, 48-year-old man, died of pancreatic cancer, suffering for a year. He's from Seekonk. I'm from Seekonk, so it was someone that lived in our neighborhood. I didn't know them well. I knew of them. I knew their family. They knew us. And when I'm standing there officiating, they had 4 or 5 people come up and share. And every single one of them talked about, you know what I'm talking about? Sacrificial love. He's like my brother. If you need anything, call him. His name's Pedro. If you needed anything, call Pedro. And I'm sitting there going, I want to be like Pedro. Ultimately, I want to be like Jesus, right? But in this, he was so Jesus-like in this way, the way that they were describing. I know he had this other side of him, right? Like we all do. But this beautiful side of him that impacted so many. We were on I don't even know what day. Like it's a Tuesday at 10 or something. It's 200 people. This is like after hundreds and hundreds went to the wake before at the night. So this is a person who impacted many people's lives. And I'm sitting there going, how does he do that? He showed up. See what I mean? Like, and he's a busy guy, and he's got a large family, and he's got this, and he's got this, but he shows up. So my little fun anecdotal story that I heard that day was that his daughter was gonna give birth to his first granddaughter, and someone called him up and had a need, and he's like, I'll be right there. So he went and helped his buddy, and then he still made it to the birth of his grandchild. And I'm not putting that out again, I'm like, that was extreme. But I'm like, there's a picture there. There's something that draws something out of me when I hear that. And if something that I say draws something out of you, then walk in it. And then some of you have to say, no, not now, Sean. I need to do this. Great. Just hear from God on that. But there is something about the beauty of serving. There's something about what Jesus says about laying down your life for the other. There's something very attractive about that. There's something very impactful about that. And at the end of your life, what do you want people to say? Like, they just did, like they got to a place of comfort and ease and they could do whatever they wanted and it was fun? Or do you want to have a life well lived that's fulfilling? Because I don't know if those are the same things. Like, I think it takes sacrifice and that when in that there's pain and there's hurt and all that, right? But maybe that's what a fulfilling life kind of looks like. Maybe we have a Pollyanna because we live in America. I think we've gotten soft, first of all, as a nation, right? This whole picture that we're sold on, the American dream, I'm not sure that's a Christian dream. It's the American dream, and I'm not sure it goes like this with the scripture. Because a life laid down, that you show up, you put the interests of others above yourself, that you lend that helping hand, right? That's. Can you have both? I think so. So some of this goes like, we had a great thing. I wanted to say this because there was a person in our church who was in need and they were moving. And it was just so cool for me I just put out a little thing to the church and said, we're going to be helping this person. And it's a simple move from Bristol to Bristol. And we had a schedule put together. We had a group of guys in the daytime and a group at nighttime. And the guys in the daytime did a great job and took care of it all. And all I was sitting there going like, that's the church being the church. And there's something about that when you hear of need. Now here's the other part. If you're in need, raise your hand. Don't raise your hand now. I'm just saying, like, let people know. Like, the church can't be the church if you hold everything in. You know what I mean? Like, you have to express like this, there's a need. Right? So then your brothers and sisters can potentially come around you. I'm not putting that on the church either because we're not a moving service. You know what I'm saying? Like that. I was youth pastor for a few years. And I felt like I didn't get paid for it. I was a moving service, right? So that's not it either. But I'm talking about like you know real people that are in need and you show up. It's a beautiful thing about the church. Our core values. Yes. Do we have the microphone in this right? Look at that. You want to say something? Introduce yourself, okay?
Hi, everyone. My name's Kathy, and Hi, Chuck. Sean is actually referring to me, and I just wanted to speak on it. So a few weeks ago, I had messaged to son Terry, because I wasn't really aware of where Terry was in life, and asked him, because he's been very pivotal in bringing Lucas, my son, into the whole entire youth experience here at Stone Coast, and asked him if he could help me move with a couple buddies. And he said, I'm still in college, which shocked me, but he said, I'll ask my dad. And I didn't expect much, but in an hour, Sean called me. And he said, we'll do this for you. And we text back and forth for a couple weeks just to get it all organized. And they showed up. They showed up in a way that I can never express the gratitude of how much they helped me. And I want to say thank you to Sean, to Neil, to Anthony, to Tony, to my friend Chip, and to Amy Paxton. Amy not only had texted me that morning, but she showed up in a different way with a Grubhub gift certificate to be able to feed everybody. This church has turned my world from a year ago, arriving in Bristol, Rhode Island with not much hope. They show up for you. And I'm going to actually say Sean's remark was incorrect. He did. This church did it perfectly. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Kathy. I'm from fun country, so this would be my little attempt at humor. I thought you went to Terry because he was younger and you thought he was more muscular and stronger and he could take care of it. And little do you know that I put him to shame in the weight room. And he hasn't quite gotten there yet. And I'm hoping he does someday so I don't have to do the heavy lifting anymore. All right, there you go. So serving, how we think about serving here at the church. There's a few different ways. So the first thing is, the primary thing is, this is what I would want for every human being, is find out your gift and your passion and let God fan that into flame and use your gift to serve him in whatever he's up to in your life. That's the primary way. Because I believe everyone's gifted. I believe everyone has a passion. You've lived experiences, both good and bad, and I believe God redeems those to use them in your future. Right? If you've gone through hurt and pain in your life, it's guess what? I guarantee you 5 years from now, there's going to be an opportunity to go and walk with somebody that's in that same experience. He doesn't waste these experiences. In the moment, it's I don't get it, right? I don't see the purpose. I don't understand the plan. It's hurtful. But sooner or later, you come out the other side and you're oh my gosh, I know what it's like to go through cancer. Oh my gosh, I know what it's like to lose a loved one. I know what it's like to lose a job. I know what it's like to and let me walk with you. I get it. I'll be there with you because I understand what it hurt when I went through it. Right? That's shared. That's the church being the beauty of the church. All of us have enough experiences to be with each other through it all. Through it all. So allow God to fan into flame that gift that you have. And so many people say, I don't feel gifted. And it breaks my heart. I'm no. You are gifted. That's the truth of God's word. You're gifted. We can help you find that out, but you are gifted. Do not believe the lies of the enemy in that. Now, it could be something that we offer as a church, right? That could be a great fit, potentially. Or it could be something in the community, or it could be an impact project, and I'll talk about that in a little while. But it's important that you find, I'll say, your fit or your calling, find your why. We have a course that we want you to find your why, literally, to figure it out, because I believe that your gifts and your why go together. Okay, so that would be my primary way of coming around that. But then there's another couple of ways of looking at this. You and I, just as Christ followers, see a need, meet a need. Right? At its simplest basic form is as you're going through life, you hear someone's in need, you show up. See a need, meet a need. Keep it real basic. But I'm just saying, if that becomes a practice, I believe that you're going to impact people's lives, just like Pedro did, the young man that I talked to you about. You know what it said on the collage of his pictures? It says, a life well lived. And that moved me right in the moment when I saw that. I was like, oh my gosh, like, there's something about that. And I guess I want to pause here and talk to you about the things that happened in my life this week, because a lot of times I'll share with you things that are I don't know if I want to say going well, but I want to give you a picture of my relationship with Anthony, the young man that I mentor. And we're going to talk about Emerge this morning. Emerge is our program for being a mentor for foster youth. But I also want you to see both sides of this. Okay, like, so you know, if you come here at any length of time, we're transparent, we're authentic, we keep it real. To do the best that we can here at Stone Coast to do that. And I was weighing it out back and forth, and I've said enough good things, I think. And Anthony's not here today, and this is the reason why. I'm not going to go into the details because I don't want to embarrass him. I'm just going to say he had a major hiccup. Okay? He stays with us every weekend. He comes to church every Sunday. That's part of our little rule, if you will, right? If you're going to stay over on the weekends, you have to come to church with us. And every Sunday he tells me, I'm not going to church, and he ends up coming to church. That's our little thing. Well, he's not here for a reason, because he had a mishap, another rule that we have at our house of what is not tolerated in our house, and it was violated. And so I needed to bring him home last night. Not sure if it was the right thing to do or not, but it's what I decided to do. I say this to you because I'm invested in his life. I told him I'll be there for the rest of his life if he wants me to be there. But there's tough love, and there's boundaries. And there's a mutual understanding. And I was showing Diane my texts, like, you know, showing him, so sorry. Call me when you're done with church. And we'll have those conversations. It put me in a predicament that most of you know me as I think anyways, a kind, loving, laid-back human being. Most of you don't know the other side of me, my athletic, non-Christian guy that used to want to beat people up, and, you know, I'm not a very nice person. And I wanted to punch him yesterday. That was my prayer. God, help me have self-control. Don't wallop him. Not a pleasant day, or moment, I'll say. When you serve and you give of yourself, there's going to be highs and lows. I didn't sign up for this because it was going to be easy. I signed up because a young man needs someone in his life to believe in him, even when he messes up. I'm going to have a lot of grace for him. I'm a very grace-filled person. But he also needs to know that there's consequences to bad decisions, right? Love has both sides. We'll see how God leads out of this. But I want you to know, like, as you walk this path of serving others and loving people, this is why your relationship with God is so important. Like, you got to lean into God, because I can't tell you how much to love a human being before you have to put that strong boundary in. Only you and God know that. I know love and boundaries go together. I know grace and truth go together. But no human being should or can tell you exactly what that looks like, because it's you and that person. It's your life. It's your bandwidth. It's your capacity to love and to forgive and to do those things. All I know is it's like I need friends in my life that I can go to that are trusted. I need to be able to go to God and have conversation. I need to go to Scripture to make sure biblically, like, that the best to my ability that I'm following that. But ease and comfort isn't necessarily a fulfilled life. sacrifice, I think, is part, and suffering. Sacrifice and suffering are throughout Scripture. And so somehow we have to learn how to navigate that together. When you work with the homeless, the folks struggling with homelessness, the things that happen, oh my, I could go on and on about this. It's like the mindset is different. It's a victim/survivor's mindset. So they do things, they take advantage of you, they lie to you all of the time because they're trying to get the next meal or the next high or the next whatever. Does that mean we don't love them? It means we keep showing up, we keep loving, but we love with boundaries. Diane was telling me the other day, because we were thinking about like part of our serving is helping young people have a career. Right? Part of Emerge is to have a workforce development arm so that when they age out at 18, a lot of these kids end up homeless. So it's like, how do we help them not to be homeless, to be employed, right? To have a good career opportunity. And I was telling her about this potential opportunity we had. She's like, Sean, but you don't understand, like a lot of times how they learn is stunted just from the trauma that they've been going through. You know, and I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, so that means, guess what, people? You got to be even more patient. It's going to take even more time. You know what I mean? It's like, I can't put my experience on this other person who's had to deal with loss and going from home to home up to 5 to 10 times on average of people rejecting you to the point where you go, I'm worthless. I don't have worth. It's different. So I've got to show up and I've got to start in a whole new way of showing them self-love. It's beautiful to me. Do you see the other side of that? It's absolutely beautiful to me, though, because this is what I see Christ doing. And so that's the kind of church that I want us to be. So see a need wherever you go, everyday life. See a need, meet a need. And then I'm going to talk to us in a minute about at the church. Like there's obviously opportunities to serve here in the church. I'll talk about that in a second. I got to go a little quicker here, okay? I'm going to actually speed talk a little bit if I don't talk fast enough. So the vision of Four Echoes, right? Our vintage shop, ice cream shop. Why do we do this? It's to be the church in the community. Some of you have been around long enough to hear me talk about it. We don't believe that the church is a building. The church is people. There's a reason why we meet here. We have very, very little overhead to rent. It's $60 an hour to rent space here. Very, very little. So that allowed us to buy a building called Vinny's Antiques in Seekonk to turn into a nonprofit to be able to give back. We want to be a self-sustainable ministry so that we can help with homelessness, foster care, kids with disabilities, and inner city youth. So part of our vision is to create businesses and then help establish business, attach a cause to what they're already doing. So I find myself in the most amazing places, you know, like in crazy meetings. I'm like, how does a pastor end up on a, construction site? How do I end up in a boardroom? How do I end up in this? I'm all over the place meeting with people because it's like people want to make a difference, but they don't know how. And so we come alongside and we show up and we help them to do that. So Four Echoes is our business that we do that so that you can serve at the shop, right? Everyone got a sheet? Did everyone get the getting involved sheet? So we'll take a moment to look at that, but that's on there because that's an opportunity. You could volunteer some of your time there if you'd wanted to. But that's the church being the church in the community. Do you see what I'm getting at there? It's like we don't expect you to have to go over these hurdles to come to us. That's what most churches do. That's their philosophy is like, we're going to just, do all the stuff that we can, be an attractional church to get them to come to us. And we're saying, well, wait a second. We believe that let's go into the world. Like Jesus came to seek and save the lost, to go and meet them where they're at and meet their needs, love on them, and build a bridge. Come to find Christ. Come to find church. Be a part of this community. All right, enough on that one. Vision of Emerge. I've talked a lot about this, so I'm not going to go into it, but there's an opportunity to be a mentor. And I guess my heart of that is what I said earlier. You being present in another person's life that feels worthless, you bring them a sense of dignity and respect that can change their life forever. I believe that to be absolutely true. Just keep showing up, keep showing up, keep showing up. I believe everyone needs a cheerleader in their life. the vision of community organizations. So we partner, or we have an affiliation with Matheson Street Church, like Mark had referenced, with homelessness. Greenlock Therapeutic Riding Center in Rehoboth. They help with kids with disabilities. The Health Equity Zone, Bristol Warren, they have working groups, okay? So these are all opportunities to serve. You can serve anytime. You can talk to Mark about Matheson. You can talk to me about Greenlock. The Health Equity Zone, they have working groups for food and nutrition, substance misuse and prevention, physical activity, personal health and mental wellness, and suicide prevention. I'm saying all this just to prime a pump. If any of these things, like, oh my gosh, this is what God, I think, is whispering to me, like, I'm just making this up, but suicide prevention could be that one. Like, you just lost, like, my cousin just took her life, you know, and I could be like, that experience, I'm not making that up, 3 months ago, she just took her life. And out of that, God could be whispering to me and say, Sean, enough is enough. You need to do something about that. Oh, if that's you, guess what? Maybe you go and talk to someone at the Health Equity Zone. They have a coalition. They have a working group, and you can talk to Laurie right there. Laurie is a part of HES in that way. So I'm just giving that as an example, right? All of these are just examples of maybe God is whispering to you. Another thing is the Impact Project. Some of you don't know what I'm talking about when I say that. This is you as an individual. I believe any single person can show up and say, I want to make a difference in this world. And so my experience of this is I was in a leadership course. It was 4.5 months long. It was in Boston, so a very diverse group of people, non-Christian event, right? So we're just a secular conference, 62 people of us. And the whole goal is, in the first week, just write down on a piece of paper 5 to 10 things that matter to you or get you very upset, like things you want to change in the world, right? And so that's where Emerge, our foster care program, got birthed from. That was the thing that I decided to choose. But I had like 7 things written down. You know what I mean? Like, you have 5, 7 things that if you will reflect on it, you'd be like, God, like, this thing charges me up. This gets me going. Like, fitness might be your thing. Like, I want to bring fitness into the world, and you do it with a cause. You know, it might be like, we're thinking about this building that's a 1/4 mile down the road. It's for sale, and we're talking about making that into an Emerge Life Center to teach them life skills and job skills. You love soccer, right? So Johnny's first time here, but I know him from the gym. And I know he loves soccer. And he loves inner city youth. And so we've been talking about mentoring and all this stuff. And I asked him to come here. And he didn't know I was going to do this. And neither did I, just so you know. So here we are. But I'm like, you know what you could do? You could take a passion like soccer and team up with Emerge. And you got 5 kids that love soccer. And you form a soccer club. You see what I'm saying? Like, you have fun with this. You get creative with this. Like, what do you love? And attach a cause to it. You know, we have some people that have their own fitness gyms. Okay, now you train young people that are struggling in life, and you have a time where they come in every week and they see you. And you invest in their physical health and well-being and their psychological well-being and their relational and social well-being. You see that? Like, so you can take the very things that you love and are already doing and just attach a cause to it. That's an impact project. That's it. And let me finish that story. So there's 62 of us, and so 62 people took a project, and I'm sitting there as I'm doing, I'm like, what if the church, there's always over 1 billion Christians in the world. There's a church in every neighborhood across the world. What if everyone had an impact project that brought good into the world? Put that on the news. I'd rather listen to that. I don't listen to the news, just so you know. I want to make the news. I want to make good news, right? We are to bring good news into the world. So there's a vision. That's a vision of impact projects. What else? Vision serving here at church, okay? Now, again, serving here at the church, we are a set-up, take-down church, right? So we meet in school. We don't have office space here. This is it. Sunday morning, we put this all together. We have the hospitality. So all the things you see, hospitality, production, kids' church, set-up, take-down, music ministry, all those things are opportunities for you to get involved. And we would welcome that. It could be your passion or your gift. Like, it could be music, right? Like, I love music. I'm gifted at it. I love music. I'm not gifted at it, so I don't get to do it. You see that? You love it and you're gifted at it. Oh my gosh, I get to serve at church. It fits beautifully, and I get to do it here. And you might even be able to do it at Matheson, or you might do it, right? You might love children and teaching and all that. Oh my gosh, go help out in kids' church, right? Like, this is an opportunity for you to, like, pour into our children things about God, to set the course and the foundation of the rest of their lives, to help with that. So sometimes it's a beautiful fit. But this is where it gets a little sensitive, so bear with me, little grace. There's this also part of it is like, guess what? If you've called this your home church, you're our family. We're all in this together. And guess what? In a family, everyone has a role to play. So you don't just get here and consume. There's a consumer church versus participant church. That's what we like to say. We are not a consumer church, right? Consume. There's part of that, right? We come and we take the music and we take the message and we take these things. But there's a participatory church. So yeah, I expect every single person, again, with no guilt, no shame, taking the phase of life, all of those things. But I expect you to be helping in some way. It's a rotational basis. We try to make it as easy as possible. But we believe that greeters matter. We want to be a friendly church. We believe first impressions matter, that when people come up the driveway for the first time, that they're welcome with a smiling face. We believe that hospitality matters. We believe that kids' church matters. All the things that we do matter. And guess what? It takes people. So I'm asking you to get involved in that way with no guilt and no shame. Is that good enough? Is that good? Did that delicately enough? All right. Good. Let's see. And then one of the real important aspects of that is to be part of a ministry team, right? Like, we do take that very seriously. We have a whole leadership development thing that we've been working on. How do we pour into Diane so that she can pour into her team, and then pour into these leaders so they can pour into their teams, et cetera, right? And how do we develop more leaders? So we take that very seriously, because when you're part of a team, we want you to know you're connected, that you belong, that you matter, and that you can use your skills and gifts to make a difference here at the church. Okay? All right. Now, show me the sheet. Let's make sure we have the sheet here. The getting involved, everyone have it? If you don't mind taking that out. I would love for you to, Mark, come up and play a song. That was spontaneous, but go ahead. Yeah, whatever song comes to mind. This is going to be a segue to Chuck's going to close in a second, but this is an opportunity for you to take a minute to review that form, because I'm asking you on your way out to fill it out, leave it behind if you can. All right, I think that's what I want to say. So if you don't mind taking out those forms, Mark's going to play a song, then it'll give you a chance to review it. You can fill it out. If you want to turn it in later, that's fine. And then Chuck will close after Mark's song, and we'll go from there. All right?
All right, there we go. Little backstory this morning. The first song we played at Mathewson Street, my E string broke. Broke right off. So we played the rest of the morning with 5 strings. And and then I went home, picked up my string, got a new set of strings. I could just picked up the 1 string, put it on my guitar when I got here, started practicing, and my G string broke. So I'm only playing with 5 strings, folks. That's what we got. Where's Neil? 2-minute song? Oh, I don't know if I know any 2-minute songs. Okay.
Don't worry, Mark. While you're playing, I'll have you play behind me to make you feel good.
Oh, sweet. Can you do a little backup vocals for me, too? Wrong song. Hold on. No, I'm playing the wrong song again. Sean, you can't do that to me. Actually, you can. I'll figure it out. Yeah, there it is. That's what I'm trying to play. There's revival, and it's spreading like a wildfire in my heart. Sunday morning, hallelujah. And it's lasting all week long. Amy's telling us we should stand up. Can you hear it? Can you feel it? It's the rhythm of a gospel song. A lot of contradicting things going. If you choose it, you can't lose it. There ain't nothing gonna steal my joy. I got an old church choir singing in my soul. I got a sweet salvation, and it's beautiful. I got a heart overflowing, 'cause I've been restored. There ain't nothing gonna steal my joy. No, there ain't nothing gonna steal my joy. Oh, I see a lot of smiling faces now. Guess it takes a little awkwardness to do that. That's it. Sing it, church. Come on now. Oh, 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 oh. All the valleys that I wander turn to mountains that I can't climb. Oh, when you're with me, never leave me. There ain't nothing gonna steal my joy. I got an old church choir singing in my soul. I got a sweet salvation, and it's beautiful. I got a heart overflowing, 'cause I've been restored. There ain't nothing gonna steal my joy. No, there ain't nothing gonna steal my joy. Whoa, whoa, here comes Chuck. Whoa, whoa, here comes Chuck. Whoa, 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 they finally muted it.
Hello. All right. I am not going to sing. He's going to strum lightly in the background. I've already been told to make this quick, which is hard for me. So I'm going to make it really quick. The DNA of our church has always been to get our hands dirty, but to look at the gifts that we have inside us and to use it. My wife came to me a few weeks ago and said, I do not get it. You make a living talking. God uses you by talking, and all these things happen. I don't get it. That's probably one of my only gifts. I hug people too. But listen, examine who you are, what your DNA is, because you are here for a moment. You're here for a reason. There's never going to be anyone like you in the future. There's never going to be anyone like you from the past. So you're here for a purpose. You're at the right place. So when you're looking at those gifts, you're looking at what you can do, consider it. Lord, thank you for today, Lord. Thank you for the church that we are, for the ministry that you've placed on our church, that we do get our hands dirty and that we're driven by that, Lord. And I would pray that the Holy Spirit just speaks that whisper to each and every one of us, that there is no time in your life until the last shovelful of dirt is on our heads, that we do not have a purpose. And Lord, I pray that that whisper continues on for eternity. In Jesus' name, amen. Guys, please today, before you leave, see the people in the back. If you have any questions about ministry that can speak to you about those ministries that you may want to serve in. We also have people who are going to pray for you, Amy and Jonathan, and they'll be at the front of the church. But if you need prayer, please speak up. Not speak up, but go up. Otherwise, really enjoy the food, enjoy each other. Have an amazing week.